The learning outcome for this module is to improve your customer's experience and increase their satisfaction with your services or your products. Let's get started.
We're going to talk about action steps to improve your customer's experience and satisfaction. The first thing is that you want to make sure to learn the landscape. Customer service is in the DNA of successful businesses and business people around the world. The importance of obsessing over your customers can't be overstated, really. A person who's happy with the service that you provide or the product that you provide will tell 3 others, while those who are dissatisfied will tell 10. That is an extraordinary statistic to think about. 82% of customers leave one business and go to another because of a customer service issue. There are multiple customer groups to keep in mind when you're trying to think about how you do customer service. You got to think about your clients, but then you also think about your boss if you have one, your peers, your staff or your employees. There's a large stakeholder group that you need to think about as customers. As a brief thought exercise, think about the best and most frustrating recent customer service experience you've had of any type, any industry, any market. And then write down the elements of each of those, the best and the worst. What made them bad or good? Identify the learning lessons and how you can apply them to your market or industry. Sometimes the best thing to do is to look at other industries specifically because you can apply them to yours. They can really be informative to your market. For example, an airline company or an airline's process for service recovery might have elements that could be applied to a financial services organization. I mean, you never know. You find gems in the strangest places. And then you should really dedicate some time, maybe 2 hours each month, to study customer service approaches in a different industry and keep track of it. Keep a log of the insights and the best practices you find to try to keep challenging yourself to apply some of these to the work that you do. Next, you want to satisfy your customer needs, but you also want to satisfy the wants of your customers. Excellent customer service starts with a deep understanding of your customers by listening to them. Try to imagine issues from your customer's perspective. Take time to understand their needs. You can ask them things like, what are your current priorities? Or how are you approaching solving some of the problems you have? How are these approaches working for you? What keeps you up at night? How can I help you solve the problems that you're having? Remember also, customers will often approach you with a need, but exceptional customer service is giving this customer what they need and something they want. As an example, you really should know the difference between somebody who comes to you and says, I need some water, versus somebody who says, I want a cold bottle of Evian. There's a real distinction there between what they need and what they really actually want. Make it a habit to review the customer feedback that comes to your company or your project regularly. You should make it easy for this feedback to happen. You should really have a rule of making it easy for a customer to complain. Why? Because customer feedback is really a gift. You want to know how to make your product or service better, and your customers will feel heard if it's easy for them to tell you about it. You should also actively solicit feedback and reward customers for providing it. You can offer a prize or a discount or an added service for people who send in feedback, genuine feedback and comments to something or for answering a survey. And make sure you're just checking in with your customers regularly to see if they're experiencing any issues that you're unaware of. The next thing to think about is to make sure you maintain strong relationships. You want to create loyal customers by anticipating their needs and creating and maintaining strong relationships. Proactively communicating with your customers on a regular basis helps you to see how things are going and also identify issues proactively. You really don't want to wait for a problem or pressing need to show up that you haven't already identified and are already working on. As I said earlier, you want to establish a method for customers to reach you easily. Give them easy ways to give you feedback or send in a complaint or a suggestion. And then you need to make sure you manage your time appropriately to escalate customer needs and responses. If you have for instance, if you have a very critical issue that needs a response, you need to set a goal within your organization of responding to that within the same day. Maybe you create a tier a tiered system of, what problems are super critical, what problems are, medium level, what problems are lower level, and then create a system for how you're going to respond to those in a very timely manner. Next, make sure you're under promising and over delivering. This sounds like something that you do in sales, but you want to accept customer requests and always follow through on your commitments. So you never want to make promises you can't keep, because you need to always manage the customer expectations, right? Some research out there in psychology shows that people are usually happiest when their expectations are exceeded, even if their initial expectation was pretty low. So under-promising and over-delivering feeds into this positive feedback loop of having a low expectation and then, clearly over-delivering. A great thing to do is when you're asked to do something, you should estimate twice the time you think you'll take to accomplish it. And you should also clarify the expectations with your customer up front. You can do this by asking questions like, can we review the deliverables you'd like to see? You could ask something, if I was successful, or if we were successful in carrying this out, what would it look like for you? Or another question would be like, when would you like to have this completed? Next, make sure that you consult instead of sell. Rather than selling to your customers, consult with them to create new solutions or to create innovative ideas. Rather than telling yourself, I'm going to convince everyone that we should do something, say something like, instead of yourself, let's help these people to solve their problem. You can brainstorm solutions together with your customers by asking them questions like, what would the ideal solution look like? Or, what would success look like for you? And then based on how that question is answered, you can draft an approach and ultimately submit a proposal to them to solve the problem that they have, or to give them the product or service that they're really asking for. Then you can, once you've drafted that proposal, you can get agreement on it with the customer that you're working on, and then agree on a final solution that truly delights that customer. You can ask them things like, look, it sounds like we've got a plan. Do we have any additional concerns? Or are you comfortable beginning this project? Is this going to result in a solution that you find satisfactory?
We hope you found this module on delighting customers useful. Remember, there's a complete transcript of this video below, and there are downloadable takeaways that you can use offline. Also, please take a moment to comment below about how you're delighting customers today, or leave us a comment about how we can make this section better. Thank you.